Truly wealthy people do not use these countries, or at least they do not use the banks and financial systems in these countries. When you watch videos about cryptocurrencies and how to cash out, many countries get mentioned. And I personally, because I run a consulting firm that helps people obtain second citizenships, second residencies, and relocate abroad, know very well what happens inside those other firms that offer these services. They are always promoting some kind of bank accounts or some structure in different countries, presenting them as the best places to live or to withdraw your crypto, but you must be extremely careful. The difference is huge between someone who wants to withdraw $2,000 a month and someone who wants to withdraw 10 million. If you go where someone recommends because they say that taking out $2,000 a month is fantastic, that with a card you can spend here or there, and the account is based in Laos, for example, and then you withdraw 2 million, 5 million, or 10 million, what you will receive are anti-money laundering alerts, a frozen bank account, and a mountain of problems specifically due to anti-money laundering rules. You must be very careful. I have seen many people pay thousands of euros in consulting fees and end up with a bank account that is useless to them, with a process they never wanted to do, or with a residency permit in a country they don't even like. That is why you must be very, very careful. Now, the countries I want to discuss require serious caution. Holding residency in some of them, or buying real estate, can be a great idea, but when it comes to banks and crypto off-ramps, you must tread lightly. I am speaking from my personal experience and that of my clients. We work every day with high net worth individuals, I speak with them face to face, and if you want to meet me in person because you have a difficult case, I'm glad to do it. I travel constantly. Right now, I'm in Asunción, Paraguay. The first place is the Republic of Georgia. With Georgia, you must be careful. There are people who love Georgia and say it's the best place in the world, the best place to invest, to obtain citizenship. It has some advantages, okay? You can obtain citizenship by exception, buy good property, get a residency, secure tax residency, and end up paying 0 or almost 0% taxes. It is fairly crypto-friendly, okay? At least in theory. And is developing well. But in my opinion, it is not great for very high net worth people. For a multimillionaire walking into a Georgian bank, good luck. A few years ago, opening accounts was simpler, but it has become more complicated because there are more Russians and more foreigners in general, and because the country has already joined CRS, accounts are no longer anonymous as before. The more popular a place becomes, the harder it gets, the more expensive it becomes, and the higher due diligence and anti-money laundering requirements. Georgia is exactly at that point, increasingly popular, more and more accounts open, and if you want to send large amount to a Georgian bank, good luck. Anything above $10,000 or $20,000 is already a headache. From a crypto exchange, they will ask you a million questions. So in my experience, sending large sums to Georgia is not a good idea. If you want to send 2,000 or 5,000 and use a transactional account, fine. But for a multimillionaire, Tbilisi is not the best city. I don't recommend the banks, much less paying large fees to process a Georgian residency, an account you will never use. You can open an account at Bank of Georgia, you can join the priority or premium segment called Solo Bank, and they may even give you an American Express Platinum on the first day of opening, yet if you move large amounts, they will give you problems. In fact, a banker I spoke with told me not to mention anything about crypto at any point, or they will not open the account. They are that clear. Now with the second country, okay, very close by is Armenia. I will not rely on Armenia for large amounts either. Yes, it is crypto-friendly, but only up to a point. I have not been there personally. There is the conflict with Azerbaijan, military obligations, and a passport that is not remarkable, and a permanent residency that only leads to citizenship if you truly live there. Perhaps they will grant you if you don't live there, yes, but not with the typical permanent residency you get, and that is, as many gurus say. You actually need real ties inside the countries to compensate for not having lived there. Be careful with Armenia, please. The country I have talked about most since I started the channel is Paraguay, but be careful with large amounts. Paraguay is bureaucratic and slow. When things happen quickly, it is usually because you pay for a permanent residency by investment or because you have good connections. For example, if you want to obtain PR or TR in Paraguay, we can do it quickly and without complications. But sending millions there is a terrible idea. I believe Paraguay is an excellent country to invest in the interior, to build a business, to obtain temporary or permanent residency without needing to live there, to secure tax residency to pay 0% or almost 0, a very good country to use cash and a safe place to escape from the West, from migration issues and social conflicts. For that, it's fantastic, but not for moving millions. I have temporary residency, I'm close to converting it to permanent, I hold full or advanced accounts, I have spoken with bankers, and even a transfer of $20,000 to $30,000 must be perfectly documented. If not, they freeze the operation and investigate. Paraguay is moving in the right direction, but it is not for withdrawing millions for now. Another case is Panama. I like Panama, I will be there in a few weeks, I don't know when this video will be uploaded, and I will obtain temporary and then permanent residency. In Panama, life is on the expensive side compared to much of Hispanoamerica, although the property market is interesting. Many people sell it as an extremely crypto-friendly country, and yes, there are banks that allow crypto-related operations, but the problem comes when sending money out. For example, a German and Spaniard who cashes out in Panama and wants to send the money to Spain, to Germany. Many banks there have a crypto-friendly reputation, but then they have trouble transferring to other banks because they are seen as suspicious, even though they were removed from the grey list for capital flows this year. Again, it works for transactional accounts, but not to store your wealth if you later want to send it back to the West. Every country has its purpose. Serbia's, for example, is not for sending millions to a bank, is not for being tax resident, it is for citizenship by exception and for being outside the European Union rules. Now, if we talk about where very high net worth individuals actually move millions, the places are countries like Switzerland. Although it is no longer as private, it remains very solid. The initial KYC process is strict, but once inside, everything flows. Liechtenstein as well, higher minimums, but banks that even accept direct crypto transfers. Singapore is another major destination with a territorial tax system and extremely strong banking. The Bahamas also work well, and of course the UAE, which has attracted more millionaires than any other country. There you have solid banks and first-class private and priority banking. It does require procedures such as the Golden Visa to gain access, and if you are looking for asset protection, trust structures in places like the Cook Islands are the strongest. You can have a trust there, an LLC beneath it, and an account in Switzerland combining protection with secure banking. For day-to-day transactions, you can use accounts in Panama, in the local country where you live, in the Bahamas, or even in the US. But if you want to protect your wealth, the key jurisdictions are Switzerland and Singapore. In my opinion, the best protection is not to obtain a second citizenship, not to belong to only one country, and thus protect your freedom, your future, and your family.